we must acknowledge that men can also face sexual assault without rejecting the fact that it is disproportionately women who bear the brunt of sexual assault and silently, without the power to go to a court, without the power to go to a police station.
Your vote matters. A strong democracy begins with responsible voting. आपका वोट इम्पॉर्टेंट है. एक स्ट्रॉन्ग डेमोक्रेसी की शुरुआत होती है रिस्पॉन्सिबल वोटिंग से.
We've actually had many queer politicians before. Kamala Jan was the first trans woman to become a corporator. We had Shabnam Mausi, who became an MLA from Madhya Pradesh on an incredibly powerful sort of anti-Hindutva platform, funnily enough. And we've had several other incredible people like Disha Pinky Sheikh, who's an NTD woman from Maharashtra, who's a trans woman, who's the spokesperson for the Vanchit Bahujan Aghadi, who all come on to this sort of space before me. Priya Patil, my own party member, who was in my party long before and who heads the LGBT cell, is a trans woman who's been doing amazing work in politics. So, बहुत बड़ा momentum movement है. There haven't been gay or lesbian politicians before. That is definitely something that is a first, and openly gay national spokesperson is certainly a title I've held since last year. And in a funny way, and we'll discuss this further, it's where this sort of pyramid of privilege has been inversed in politics, perhaps for the better.
मैंने ये देखा कि हमने 377 के बारे में आपने भी बताया और आप डेटिंग एप्स के बारे में भी बता रहे थे. तो there is only one dating app for queer people in India that most people use. It's called Grindr. And
Oh yeah, Tinder also,
अच्छा,
Hinge
Tinder,
also,
हाँ.
Bumble also.
नहीं मतलब यूजुअली तो अच्छा. सो व्हाई डू पीपल यूज ग्राइंडर? चलो उसके बारे में बाद में बात करेंगे.
उसके बारे में बात करें तो हमें लगा देंगे, उसके बारे में बाद में बात करेंगे.
But there has been a rise in sexual violence against men, by men, and against transgender people as well as against animals. And we changed this entire IPC to the new BNS, and we still don't protect these people.
You know, the big movement was against Section 377, right? Because we wanted to allow consensual sex, right? The definition of 377 was the problem. Because the law said carnal intercourse against the order of nature. तो petition Supreme Court के सामने था कि 377 को read down करो, हटाओ मत. Because you still need Section 377 for bestiality. You still need Section 377 critically for sexual assault against men. Today, the government, in all of its wisdom, has removed the only law that existed to criminalize sexual assault against men. तो ये सभी men's rights activists जो सुन रहे हैं, please आप सुनिए और आपकी प्रिय मोदी सरकार को बोल दीजिए कि put 377 back. Because this is the problem with the country today, कि policy बनानी तो आती नहीं, पॉलिसी हटाने जा रहे हैं और बीएनएस के नाम पे इन्होंने दी ओनली सर्वाइविंग प्रोटेक्शन फॉर मेल विक्टिम्स ऑफ सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट हटा दिया है एंड दी ओनली सर्वाइविंग प्रोटेक्शन फॉर एनिमल्स अगेंस्ट बिस्टियलिटी. आई एम श्योर यू सीन हॉरिफाइंग वीडियोज ऑफ rapes of dogs, cows, anything on this planet which used to be criminalized but which can't be criminalized now. So you're now seeing this strange situation today where a policy measure that was seen as progressive by the government, उन्होंने सोचा होगा wow we're going to give ourselves a pat on the back, हमने 377 हटा दिया, has actually turned into a disaster. But this is not limited to 377. आप sedition का कानून देख लो. Sedition does not exist anymore. Sedition हमने हटा दिया. What did you replace it with? An even more stringent law that has even vaguer provisions that is worse than British era sedition law. मतलब तालियां बजानी चाहिए मोदी सरकार के लिए, because imagine coming up with a worse law than the colonizers. So ये तो BNS के साथ हमारे बड़े सारे प्रॉब्लम है, पर पार्लियामेंट में हमारी बात कोई सुनता नहीं है. So we have to come here and discuss them in the hope that one day somebody will listen.
Talking of LGBT rights and coming from, say, the Ambedkarite perspective, one of the causes which we talk about is that we need, obviously the government has provisions for reservation for transgender people in India, but it's not horizontal.
Yes.
Your party stands on it and your stands on it. Do you guys?
We support horizontal reservations for transgender persons because this is not even a party stance issue or a question of ideological positions, right? It's logical. Trans identities are gender identities. It's like women's reservation. आपके लिए women's reservation के नीचे भी SC reservation, ST reservation और OBC reservation हमेशा होता है. तो transgender reservation में ये अलग categories क्यों नहीं? Because what you will essentially end up doing then is privileging those who are already in positions of privilege, right? Because sexuality does not preclude caste, right? Sexuality or gender does not absolve you or liberate you from caste in and of itself. So a true revolutionary politics or emancipatory politics needs to acknowledge that transgender reservation needs to have a set list of criteria for horizontal reservations to operate. But unfortunately, despite this coming up before the Supreme Court, despite this being proposed to lawmakers, there doesn't seem to be sustained interest on the issue. And I don't think we've managed to really unlock what a reservation debate can really mean for the trans community and how the fight for that reservation can be taken forward. क्योंकि आप अगर आज देखने जाओ तो reservation movements are most successful when they are for communities that are geographically concentrated and are very important vote banks. The problem with transgender rights and with LGBTQ plus rights in general is that the community is dispersed. It's not like एक ही इलाके में सभी queer लोग हैं या सभी trans लोग हैं. And so the fight for reservation becomes very difficult because who's going to become your champion, right? And where are you going to draw your political capital from? So that has been a very significant challenge.
That's true. And talking about this 377, that it was removed, but we need a law to address that particular issue, which is sexual assault towards men. If Indie Alliance comes to power, would we be expecting something along those lines?
I think it's presumptuous of me to be speaking on behalf of the entire India Alliance. But India Alliance, you बोल रहे हैं India Alliance हम बोलते हैं. I'm also saying India Alliance over here. But India Alliance, potato. But yes. But what we will push for, or at least what I will push for, is a law that also recognizes that a specific law for sexual assault against men cannot be used to push for a blanket gender neutral provision for all laws. Because unfortunately you have a big movement today and there are people who support it for valid reasons that says कि कोई भी gendered law हटाना चाहिए. कि रेप पे जो gendered law है, alimony पे भी जो gendered law है, domestic violence पे जो gendered law है, उसको हटा दो. Which is a big problem, right? We must acknowledge that men can also face sexual assault without rejecting the fact that it is disproportionately women who bear the brunt of sexual assault and silently, without the power to go to a court, without the power to go to a police station. So ये nuance बहुत जल्दी गायब हो जाता है in this conversation around men's rights activists, women's rights activists, ये वो. That I think needs to be brought into a lawmaking perspective.
To the audience watching this, the loudest voices for real men's rights activism in India, it actually comes from the queer community. And the queer community are the ones which these, the quote-unquote men's rights activists always demonize.
Correct. So, they are the ones who come against us in all of these TV debates. But never thought I'd say this, but we might have more in common with men's rights activists than we would have presumed. So, aap bhi aa jao. We're a big umbrella. And in our fight against oppressive regimes, we can all be united.
The fight against an oppressive regime shouldn't come with misogyny, goes without saying.
Correct. Men's rights without harming women's rights.
हमने देखा कि आप मीडिया में बहुत जाते हैं इंटरव्यू देने के लिए. मैंने कुछ कभी-कभी पर्सनली भी देखा है आपके इंटरव्यूज और मैंने बहुत बार
टीवी देखते हैं
वो एंटरटेनमेंट के लिए.
अच्छा.
कभी-कभी म्यूट
या आप रील्स पे देखते हैं क्योंकि हमारे
तो स्टोरी डालते हो कि अब टीवी में आने वाले हैं तो हम तो लॉग इन कर लेते हैं. फिर
देखो लॉग इन कर लेते. कोई किसी के घर पे टीवी नहीं है आजकल. ये सब बोल देते कि यूट्यूब पे देखते हैं टीवी या जियो टीवी पे देखते हैं.